Today on Public Eye News, a fundraiser raises more than $300,000 to support the family of the Grand Blanc attacker. And later, a new candidate enters the race for the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Alex Tilpo will have your weather forecast for the next couple of days. And later, Dylan Dubé will bring you today's sports breakdown. I'm Jacob Heston.
And I'm Aubrey Huddleston, and this is Public Eye News. And so far, $345,000 have been raised for Thomas Sanford's family following his attacks on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Chapel in Grand Blanc earlier this week. After watching news coverage of the shooting and arson, one member of the Mormon faith, David Butler, decided that family members of the perpetrator were also victims in this tragic attack. Butler started the fundraiser on Tuesday via the platform Give, Send, Go, and the donations soon began to roll in. Butler cited his faith as the main reason for starting the effort. Forgiveness is considered a requirement within the church, and it is also considered an essential step towards justice. The original goal for the fundraiser was to reach $10,000 to support the family for the next few months, but many faithful have come together in support, seeing donation as the right way to respond to the tragedy. And the American Civil Liberties Union of Michigan, or ACLU, is advocating for a hearing for a detained man battling life-threatening leukemia. Jose Contreras Cervantes is being held in a detention facility 3 hours from home while awaiting his pending deportation case. This comes after the Trump administration refuses to hold bond meetings for those who have entered the country illegally. Although these new policies have been triumphantly challenged, many immigrants are still detained. Because of his detention, Contreras Cervantes is not currently receiving his recommended medical care, but rather an alternative treatment plan at a privately run detention center in Baldwin, Michigan.
In Wisconsin, a pivotal contest is shaping up for the state's highest court. Conservative Judge Maria Lazar has formally entered the race for an open seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Lazar, currently serving on a state appellate court, brings a judicial record that has drawn both support and scrutiny. Her candidacy could shift the ideological balance on a court already under close public attention. She's backed by conservative groups and has emphasized themes of judicial restraint and defending precedent. On the other side, critics say her record raises concerns about her approach to issues such as abortion rights and election law. With no incumbents running, the outcome is wide open. And in a politically divided state, the race for the Supreme Court seat may prove one of Wisconsin's most consequential contests this year. Also, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel is warning residents about a new wave of text message scams known as smishing. The fraudulent messages claim to come from a so-called State of Michigan Department of Vehicles, threatening to suspend a driver's license or registration unless an unpaid ticket is resolved right away. But state officials say there is no such department, and the Secretary of State does not send text demanding payment. The Attorney General's office says these messages often contain red flags like long or unusual sender IDs, urgent warnings, suspicious links, and grammar mistakes. Nessel urges Michiganders not to respond, not to click, and simply delete the texts. Residents can also forward suspicious messages to 7726, which spells spam, to help block future scams. She stresses this is a reminder to stay vigilant and never let a text scare you into handing over personal or financial information. Also, we are learning more about the deadly attack on the synagogue in England, including new images of the attacker holding a knife after driving into a crowd. Also, in a tragic twist, police now believe they are responsible for killing one of the victims yesterday. CBS's News' Imtiaz Tiab is in Manchester.
They've killed him.
The shocking moment police surrounded the attacker as he lies on the ground outside this synagogue on Yom Kippur.
Everybody else, get back! He's going to blow himself up. He's trying to press the button.
Their fear, he has a bomb strapped to his body. Then, a fatal shot is fired. Investigators have identified the attacker as Syrian-born British citizen Jihad al-Shami. A bomb disposal unit was called in to inspect what appeared to be an explosive vest that investigators later said was not viable. British counter-terrorism police are calling the attack on the synagogue a terrorist incident and have arrested 3 others in connection with the case. 2 Jewish people were killed, 53-year-old Adrian Dalby and 66-year-old Melvin Kravitz from Manchester. 3 others remain in hospital, one of the dead and some of the injured with apparent police gunshot wounds, according to a police statement.
We're shaken, and particularly that it's on our own doorsteps.
Heather Fletcher grew up in this area and told us such violence on Yom Kippur is hard to fathom.
Muslims, Jews and Christians live very peacefully side by side in this community.
Although there's no known connection with the U.S., police in Los Angeles and New York City have also increased patrols around synagogues.
And Greater Manchester Police will no doubt be facing tough questions to explain how innocent victims were shot by their own officers, as Prime Minister Keir Starmer vows to, quote, do everything in his power to protect the Jewish community here. Imtiaz Taib, CBS News, Manchester.
Now don't touch that dial. After this short break, we'll be back with your weather and statewide news.
Austin City Limits presents An Hour with Phineas.
Saturday night at 11, WNMU TV.
Hi, I'm Alex Topol with the weather today. Currently, it is pretty sunny outside with just a few clouds in the sky. Now, for the entire UP, we have 79 degrees in Houghton County with a blistering 78 degrees in Ironwood. Our mountain in Menominee is currently 80 degrees, with Escanaba and Manistee both being a chilling 73 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie is at a 69 degrees, and the current conditions in Marquette are 77 degrees, and it's mostly sunny. Temperature today is 77 degrees. Winds are heading from the northeast, with the barometric pressure falling from 30.12 inches. Next up, for tonight, we have a low of 60 degrees, winds slowing down to 5 miles an hour, with the moon phase being a waxing gibbous, with only isolated showers. Later on the week, however, we have Tomorrow we have a high of 84 with a low of 66. Winds coming from the south at 15 degrees. Later this week we have a high of 78, low of 55. Monday, mostly cloudy, 61, 48 degrees. Then on Tuesday it's mostly sunny with a high of 59 degrees and 42 as the low. Back to Jacob.
Thanks for that weather report, Alex. It'll be a great weekend to get outside, that's for sure. And now for some more statewide news. It's official. The 2025 Michigan State Christmas tree has been announced today, and its roots are local. Selected by the Michigan's Department of Technology and Budget, this 68-foot spruce tree from Sault Ste. Marie will soon grace the Capitol lawn beginning November 1st. Linda Reed, a Sault Ste. Marie resident, will be donating the tree to honor her grandparents, who played an influential role in her upbringing. The spruce will begin its inaugural journey downstate at the end of this month with an official tree lighting ceremony as part of the annual Silver Bells in the City celebration taking place November 21st. And a recent study from Michigan State University examines how families' access to childcare intersects with involvement in the workforce. The study concluded that women were especially affected, with 2.7% less employed women per every extra mile the family is from licensed providers. Not only did this study conclude that families were affected, but Michigan's economy also faces the wrath of this deficit. The state loses almost $3 billion annually due to the inaccessibility of licensed childcare. To combat these findings, Michigan's Department of Lifelong Education Advancement and Potential, or MyLEAP, is increasing access to programs such as Child Development and Care Scholarships, Pre-K for All, and more. And today, the Senate will take up competing GOP and Democratic spending bills to try to reopen the government. President Trump said he met yesterday with the director of the Office of Management and Budget amid sharpening threats of mass layoffs and program cuts. CBS News' Tina Kraus has more.
Today, the U.S. Senate is set to hold another round of votes, now 3 days into a shutdown stalemate. Republicans insist the only way forward is to pass the House's short-term spending bill.
If we can just find a few more Democrats to join us, we can end this shutdown.
But Democrats won't drop their demands that the bill include federal health care subsidies and protections for Medicaid.
We are ready, we are willing, we are able to sit down with anyone, anytime, any place.
Yesterday, President Trump met with his administration's budget chief, Russ Vought, as he threatens to slash federal jobs and programs.
We could cut projects that they wanted, favorite projects, and they'd be permanently cut.
Plans are underway to cope with the shutdown's impact on federal workers. Food banks around the nation, already hit hard with fewer donations, are bracing for even more strain.
We're prepared that there may be an influx of individuals seeking food assistance.
And while thousands of national parks workers are now furloughed, many parks are still open with limited staffing, offering a bright spot for tourists. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Now don't go too far. Dylan Dubé has an excellent sports report you will not want to miss.
Tune in to the heartbeat of the Upper Peninsula. At Public Radio 90, we're more than just a frequency on your dial. We're your trusted home for national public radio. Let our diverse blend of music be the soundtrack to your day. Public Radio 90, where community comes alive. Tune in to Sunday Nights with Dan Truckee, In the Pines from 9 to 9:30, followed by Just Folks from 9:30 to 11.
Welcome back. I'm Dylan Dubé with your Sports Breakdown. Kicking things off, the Dark Lords have been defeated. The Cleveland Guardians have been dismantled by the Detroit Tigers 6-3 in the deciding Game 3 of their AL Wildcard Series. The Guardians slithered their way into the Wildcard Series after being 15.5 games back in early July, then completed the biggest comeback in division or league play in MLB history as if they were fueled with a single desire to keep Tigers fans in a deep depression. However, with the game tied 1-1 with 2 outs in the 6th, it was Dylan Dingler who mollywopped a changeup from Joey Cantillo 401 feet into the Progressive Fields bleachers. This moment would put the Tigers on top, and they continued to shed their claws as they would scorch the Guardians with another 4 runs in the 7th. The Tigers would effectively ice Cleveland for the rest of the game, giving them a much-needed victory after an abysmal 7-17 September showing. The Tigers now look to mangle the Mariners at T-Mobile Park tomorrow at 8:30, trying to garner postseason glory. And taking a look at soccer, the Wildcat Men's Soccer Club is trekking to the land of 1,000 Lakes to tackle their 4th GLIAC opponent of the 2025 season, the St. Cloud State Huskies. The 2-3 Cats are coming off an up-and-down weekend after a 1-0 win against Purdue Northwest and a 1-0 loss to the reigning regular season champs, Roosevelt. The Dynamo Dutchman Teun van Gansewinkel and the British bruiser Luca Rosen will look to spearhead NMU's offense as they both lead the entire conference in shots with 22. Keeper Asaf Krital remains in the green and gold's no-fly zone, allowing just 6 goals in the season so far, second in goals allowed in the conference. The Cats will depend on him as the Huskies have scored in every game this season. Krital currently holds a goals against average of 8.857. He could have saved the Titanic. St. Cloud is 5th on the conference leaderboard, just 1 spot behind Northern, and Northern will attempt to keep them in their place this Saturday at 1 p.m. Keeping things on the pitch, the women's soccer team will be holding it down in the M with home matchups against Ferris State and Saginaw Valley this weekend. Northern kicked off Platter Day against the Ferris State Bulldogs earlier this afternoon, and with the Bulldogs coming off an unbeaten streak of 6 games, the Cats were poised to knock the Dogs off their throne. With a brilliant Hannah Costamo brace, the Wildcats have just toppled Ferris State 2-1 and propelled themselves to 3-2-0 in the conference. The Wildcats will now look to topple Saginaw Valley as they come off a brutal bout against the Michigan Tech Huskies on the road. Kickoff is set to take place Sunday at noon. That's all I have for sports. Back to the desk.
Thank you for that sports breakdown, Dylan. So, Jacob, I know you're not from Michigan, but do you have any love for the Tigers?
Listen, I'm a Cardinals guy, but I have to admit the Detroit Tigers are playing great baseball, and I'm excited to see that Mariners game.
I am as well. And that's all the time we have today at Public Eye News. I'm Aubrey Huddleston.
And I'm Jacob Heston.
And we'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.